former X Division champion and number 22 on PWP's Top 25 of 2022, Mike Bailey here, and you are listening to Pro Wrestling Proverbs with Logan and Anthony.
Thank you, Mike Bailey, for that awesome intro. How awesome was that, Logan? You know, we have a top 25 of the PWP top 25 of 2022 doing our intro now. He totally did it on his own accord. We did not pay him anything or request it on Cameo or anything like that. Me and us and Mike Bailey, we're pretty close friends.
We're tight.
If you know, brother, I saw him one day, dude, and I was like, dude, this kid's got something, brother, but he's just missing that thing that makes him different. And then it just came to me. I'm like, dude, why don't you just wrestle with your shoes off, brother? And ever since then, he started wrestling barefoot, and it's all because of me. It's all my idea. So
all because of you.
All because of me. So shout out Mike Bailey for being the new voice of the Pro Wrestling Proverbs intros here for a couple episodes now. This would be the third episode I believe he's on. I just wanted to give him a quick shout out because there's some people we've asked this of, and they seem to make it a big deal. When in reality, it's obviously not a big deal because Mike Bailey gave us like 3 different copies. That we could use.
Yeah, they could just say no if it was a big deal, you know?
Yeah, but no, she took our fucking money and said no.
Just to tell us she doesn't like wrestling, even though she was on NXT like the following week. But that's old news. That's old news.
I'm not salty about it at all.
No.
But yeah, we're just coming on here. This is we did one in the summer, and when we did it, I kind of thought about kind of making it like a semi-annual thing, maybe like every season, half a year maybe. We did the last one in June. We did it like in the summer. Fall's kind of already over, so I don't know if this would be considered like the winter.
I think so.
State of the pod. We call it the winter state of the pod. I'll just catch you guys up because we were kind of inactive the past couple of weeks. But I'm assuming by the time this is dropped, we've kind of gotten more on social media more. And that's mostly my fault. I'll take responsibility for all that. I kind of have a side gig going on where I coach the youth of America into the great sport of football. And hopefully none of them get CTE when they get older because of it. But we take it one day at a time. So yeah, we had a great time doing that. But it kind of took up all my time. So there'd be days where Logan would just message me. He'd be like, hey, do you want to do a podcast? Do you want to record tonight? Then in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, we probably should. But my body's like, no, dude, you need to go to bed. Like, you have like 4 hours of sleep in you. And I was like, yeah, you're right, buddy. You're right. And then I just kind of just like fall asleep on him. So my fault.
Yeah.
We'll take credit for it. And, Logan's an old man. He falls asleep at the early twilight hours too. So.
Dude, sometimes I fall asleep while recording.
Yeah. Yep.
That's twice now.
Well, the last time we weren't actually recording. We were. Yeah. We talked about fantasy football for way too long, and then we just never recorded.
Yeah, we started talking about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and last thing I remember is looking up and be like, "Wow, it's midnight and we haven't recorded yet." That kind of sucks. We could have got a lot of content, and then I woke up to Discord telling me I was alone on the server.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Whoops. So yeah, we're gonna use this podcast as an opportunity to regroup, revitalize, and just look ahead. We got a couple things here on the docket. The first, of course, let's get out of the way first, if you were listening to this, you obviously care about Pro Wrestling Proverbs and the content and the podcast that we put out, right? So why don't you put your money where your mouth is and head over to the Etsy store. All right, it's easy. I'll do it for you right here. Okay, you go on to your mobile device, or you can even do it on a computer, whatever one you're on. And you go to Etsy.com/shop/PWP products, and there's a whole list of things on here. We have a copy of the Logan Scriptures Notebook, the ever famous Logan Scriptures Notebook,
bestseller.
Volume 9, just released last week. On the concept of a TLC3 ladder match with Edge, the Dudleys, and the Hardys. I don't like Christian's in there.
And Christian.
We got PWP hats, koozies, a shot glass for you alcoholics out there, stickers, indoor and an outdoor one, so you can put one on your car and inside. We got buttons for those of you that are buttons if you're going to like a convention. I know people at conventions hand out buttons, I think. That seems like a thing they do.
Yep.
And then there's signed 8x10s. So if you want to
By us.
And I'm really scared for anybody to buy those. Because I think I said this last time.
I'll be scared.
Because you're sending it to me and I'm going to be the last one to sign it. You have multiple opportunities to sign and make it look good. I have one chance.
Yep.
So head
That's
over.
all you need.
So head over to the PWP Products Etsy store and leave a review if you do buy something. It kind of helps push the algorithm a little bit. And then obviously our social medias. Why aren't you following if you're not on there? If you want a quick way to get into all of our social medias, you go to Linktree/PW Proverbs. Let me just get there real quick. And it has literally everything. All of our social media is linked, except for our threads. But I'll add our threads right after this. So our threads will be on there. Our YouTube, our Facebook, which, you know, I think we said it a couple times before. Our Facebook, for some reason, has like the most followers ever. And we were old and stubborn about it. And we did not want to post.
Yeah, a lot of followers, a lot of engagement.
We did not want to sign up for Facebook.
No,
you know, we're one of those people, but
it's worked.
Obviously, our Twitter or X. For some reason, we just cannot break that 200 follower threshold.
Yeah.
On Twitter. So if you could please help us out in that regard. Make a new Twitter if you have to. Like, all the cool kids have 2 or 3 Twitters anyway. So
still trying to figure out the algorithm of all of it, because I mean, even on our YouTube, there's some channels that do, or some videos that do really well, and others that don't, and they're pretty similar. Just like our Facebook and even our X, there'll be some posts that do really good, and there'll be ones that are extremely similar to it that just they flounder. But I guess that's living and learning. I mean, you know, we'll figure it out. But you mentioned our YouTube, and the thing I'm most proud of is we crossed over, and it might not seem like a lot. I know a lot of you that have YouTube channels or that subscribe to a lot of YouTube channels. 100 isn't a big threshold, but we crossed 100.
Well, actually, no, 100 doesn't seem like a lot to people that don't do YouTube. Like, I would challenge anybody listening that isn't on YouTube to make a YouTube channel and start putting out content and figure out how hard it is to like put stuff out there and then get 100 people. Like, we have, what's the actual count? Because obviously, like, we're gonna subscribe to our own channel, and you know, all our close friends are gonna subscribe to us. You know, you get like 10 right there, right? We're at 110 now, so we got like 100 random people we have never met before subscribed, which is a very hard thing to do. Like, it took
for them to stay subscribed too.
I think I sent it to you. It took Mr. Beast like a year or so to get over 100 or like 200 or something like that. So obviously I'm not saying we're gonna get 100 million subscribers in the next 5 years, but
It'd be pretty cool if we did.
yeah, and that was somebody who put in like more effort than we could ever even imagine, right? He treated YouTube like a full-time job even back then, and we're both working full-time jobs on top of this. So,
Told you before, easy peasy, we quit.
yeah, I'd quit all my jobs for this. Just real quick before we move on from social medias, obviously our Instagram and TikTok as well. All of our social medias are at Pro Wrestling Proverbs, except for our Twitter, because you can't have a username that long, so it's PW Proverbs. Like I said, buy our merch, subscribe to our social media, follow our social media.
Share our posts too if you can.
Yeah. Yeah, share it so like everybody on your Facebook feed gets annoyed by it. That's if you start losing friends because of how much you're sharing it, then you're doing something right. You don't want those people in your life anyway.
Ew, Thomas, are you sharing that wrestling stuff? Disgusting.
Get that shit out of my face. Yeah, then it'd be a good time to share because now, like I said, I'm kind of more available. We're more free. It's the winter. It gets dark out quicker. We're inside in front of our computer more. A lot more content here will be turned out. For example, the Macho Man pod that I tried to get out before the football season started. That did not happen. So expect that here. According to my master plan here, my master timeline Google Doc, it went from like August of 2023 to September of 2023 to now it's I have it down as TBD 2023. So instead of putting like a solid date on that, we're gonna do before the end of the year. It will be out before the end of 2023, for sure, confirmed. Obviously, as you know already, if you're watching this, the TLC 3 Logan Scripture already came out. So go ahead and take a listen to that.
Yes.
Volume 9, Logan is hard at work at figuring out what he could do for Volume 10 to make it worthy of a nice round number like 10. You know, we don't want a WrestleMania 10 type scripture, but you know, those anniversary shows are typically supposed to be pretty big. So
I mean, if we take anything from 10, we want that ladder match. The whole scripture could be as good as the ladder match.
Yeah, just all ladder matches. And obviously, Survivor Series is right around the corner. It is November, so we have some Survivor Series themed episodes coming. You know, we did one for WrestleMania. We did one for SummerSlam. So I think it's only right.
I was a loser.
So I think it's only fair that we do have a Survivor Series Jeopardy coming out here very soon.
And I guess
speaking of Jeopardy, we
we
have a winner finally of the. This was not announced on anything else on any of our social medias. Dalton has won the Jake Roberts figure from the SummerSlam Jeopardy.
Yes.
He's the only one who commented that Logan is a loser. He had no remorse in saying that.
I'm assuming all our other fans respect me and like me enough to not put that.
That's what I was thinking too.
Thank you to all of you.
Yeah, they could not bear themselves to type the hidden message that was put at the end of the SummerSlam Jeopardy, which I respect. I commend. I would not want to type that either. Yep. And also, Logan, you know, I haven't brought this up with you yet, but I think it'd be an interesting podcast to do. Doing like a compare and contrast and maybe like a little history of Survivor Series and Starrcade. Because Survivor Series was created to rival Starrcade. And there's a little bit of ancient history and beef.
Yep.
Between Jim Crockett and WWF at the time. So that's something that we could get into around that weekend, have like a little Survivor Series week. Then, of course, obviously, more tier lists are coming.
Oh yeah, you guys like them?
And we're also trying to figure out what kind of YouTube videos outside of tier lists and profiles, like what could we do? So if you have any ideas or input into something you might want to see, that even like maybe some other wrestling YouTubers do, that you think that something we could do, let us know, and we'll look into it.
And like we just mentioned, there will be more profiles. A very popular one was the Thunderbolt Patterson profile, along with the Haystacks Calhoun profile. So
There's only a little bit of racism
of
in the comments on that video, so
of the Thunderbolt one.
Yeah.
Of the Thunderbolt one.
Yeah, so I think maybe our
yeah.
next we try to stay away from those guys in our next profile. Try to keep them away.
But yeah, just keep an eye out for it. I mean, they're nothing long, they're nothing fancy. It just kind of gives you a little bit of insight into those that the WWE either overlooks or those that the WWE wants to just toss in that damn legacy wing.
Prestigious.
I think the longest. Yeah, I think the longest one is maybe 15 minutes. I mean, they're quick listens. It's a good playlist to kind of just put on. Or if there's somebody that is on, was WWE Network, but now Peacock, and you're like, whoa, who's that guy? There's a chance we have a profile out about him.
Yeah.
And I guess to kind of go along with the profile and our social media, kind of tie it all together, make sure you pay attention to our Facebook. Every so often, you may see either a brief little article about wrestling in Detroit, or you may see a brief article talking about, or I guess comparing an old magazine article to now. I recently came into many pro wrestling magazines, and a fun idea I had was to kind of just flip through them casually and see an article that'll be like, this person's going to be the best of all time, or oh man, is this person finally losing their steam? And seeing if they did become the best of all time, or if they did lose their steam. The most recent one was from 1986. Does Macho Man coming to the Federation signal the end of Hulkamania in 1986? Just again, something brief, something fun to read. Another reason to be on our social medias.
Yeah, they're great. If you're someone that likes to read when you're going number 2, good content there for it. Instead of mindlessly scrolling on TikTok, once you learn something. All right.
Yeah.
We do have a World Cup tournament to complete too. It's only been, the original plan was to end it in like March and April. It is now November, so me and Logan decided here, instead of trying to film and edit and put out like 5 more like hour-long episodes of the Cup, one of these days when we're both free and it's kind of early enough in the day, we're gonna hop on like YouTube. And we're just going to live stream the end of it. And then try to and dabble in the live streaming aspect of our channel. Something we haven't done before. And if it goes successfully, maybe something we can do more in the future. And that'll kind of bring us towards our end of the year type shows. We'll obviously have our regular 2023 the year in review show. Which will include our top 25 of 2023 list, which will be hard at work here soon. And then I think we're going to have another Christmas special this year.
Oh, yeah.
I think we had a lot of fun doing that one last year. It's fun releasing it on Christmas and getting kind of the feedback from that. And then a small look into next year, kind of what I have written down for more of our longer deep dive type episodes that I kind of want to get back into. We didn't do many this year. I have we might touch on Ultimate Warrior in April of next year. That's the 10th anniversary of his passing, so we can get into that. And then Over the Edge 1999, the death of Owen Hart. That's in May of 2024, the 25th anniversary of that. And they kind of neck and kind of go hand in hand with our Montreal Screwjob 25 years later podcast we did last year. So it kind of works out with the timeline in real life, like the amount of time between that happening and then this podcast coming out. So it kind of puts into perspective of kind of how quickly time flies by. And then the steroid trial, the 30th anniversary of that's in July. So there's a couple that we can do, and then in the fall, I kind of have a obviously nothing for certain yet, but I have the rise and fall of WCW and Collision in Korea. That's always a show I love to learn about. It's mental how they pulled that off. So 2024.
I know.
And plus, on top of everything else that's going to happen in wrestling next year, who knows? Like, obviously, WrestleMania next year is probably going to be pretty big. So we're going to have a bunch of shows about that. The convention tour might return next summer. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know if CM Punk returns.
CM Punk can return.
I
CM
know
Punk can return in like 3 weeks. Who knows?
I know in my notes, I'm still kind of jotting things down about the late Bruiser Brody, because it's one of those stories that you hear parts of, but you never hear the full thing. So I think pulling from Dark Side of the Ring, his biography that his wife wrote, stories from wrestlers, it'd be good to get a clear picture. And you mentioned how Owen Hart connects to the Montreal Screwjob. I am somewhat working on an Eddie Guerrero that would kind of be a prequel to our Chris Benoit three-part series.
Oh yeah, that was 2024. We got big aspirations.
Lots on the horizon. So, don't distract us.
No distractions. No distractions. But in the meantime, the past couple of weeks, there were some things that we missed.
I gotta get it off my chest. We paid hundreds of dollars. Gas, food, hotel, meet and greets, Starcast tickets, ticket to the show. Ric Flair's supposed to retire. It's supposed to be the big one. And Tony Khan has I've got an announcement for Sting. And it's Ric Flair. And Ric Flair and Sting both say they're going to ride it out together. They're going to be on this blaze of glory together. I swear to God. Ric Flair better not come back and fight for AEW. And I know what you're saying. Logan, you guys talked about how the reason it was in Tennessee is because, there's a doctor down there that approved it. Or, it would have to be a tag team match because, Ric Flair and Sting would be bad. Yeah, Tony Khan's got a lot more money than Conrad Thompson does. I'm sure he could pay off a doctor. Doctors are scum. Also, Sting and Darby Allin can get any partner they want. I'm sure FTR would play with themselves if they got to team with Ric Flair too. I mean, it's possible. I hope Flair's just going to manage Sting, but no, that's not it. You're not going to pay Flair this money and just have him be another manager for Sting. And I know they're not going to team them together because Darby Allin cannot carry Sting and Flair. So I just
no.
Why? I don't think so. That's a lot to carry. I guess Sting wanted to retire like this month, and Tony Khan convinced him to do like a retirement tour, which makes me think he's fighting Flair. Because why else would
Well, look, if it makes you any better, you at least say you were at Ric Flair's second to last match. You can just Sharpie it in on the all the merch we got.
I think Conrad. You think Conrad would be mad? Probably not, because
No, he already
got all
cashed
the
his
money.
fucking check, Logan. You already got your money. He's selling fucking mortgages and whatever credit card debt relief
I don't
stuff.
even think I'd watch it. I think I'd sit in my basement and I'd stare at my Ric Flair figure from the show, and I'd probably just weep.
If the World Cup live stream goes well, I know what our second one's gonna be. So yeah, we are not happy that Flair's in AEW. But I think what we are happy about is the changing of brands, marketing materials, I guess, from Impact to Total Nonstop Action.
Yeah, I've done a couple podcasts about TNA things, and it's all in good fun. TNA's been something. It's weird to think about, but they had weekly and or no month, weekly and monthly pay-per-views from about 2000, let's say 2 to 2005 ish, and then they started having a TV deal. Well, I used to stay with my grandpa all the time on the weekends, and he started recording TNA because we would watch all the wrestling. So it's weird to think, but I've probably watched TNA since it started being on weekly television, and I've been there with the highs of, the Aces of Eights, Broken Matt, and I've been through the lows. Also Aces and Eights, but just it's cool that they're going back to TNA. I know a lot of people are questioning why they do that. I think it's for the library purpose. I think they're going to be able to have all their old stuff. I wouldn't put it past them working with NWA so that way they could maybe finally put out something that has those weekly and monthly pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've said it before, there's nothing, not like sought after gold, but I mean, it's got some of Dusty Rhodes' last matches, some of Vader's last matches, Legion of Doom. I mean, there's so many. They brought in a bunch of ECW legends. Kevin Nash and Scott Hall reunited after a few years. There's a lot on those shows. Scott D'Amore right now, D'Amore running things. He used to be on Team Canada. He's done really well. It was cool they announced it at Bound for Glory, their big pay-per-view. I'm really interested to see what happens. Actually, before Bound for Glory, we weren't on screen, but we were actually in the press call with a man that many regard as the top professional wrestler today,
Yes, we were.
Will Ospreay. We were there. Impact's soon to be TNA has been really good to us.
Yeah, they're not big leaguing us.
Yeah, they
Like some
send us
dude.
they send us the press releases. They have talked to us about upcoming shows. I'm really excited to see what TNA is going to do. I think if there's one glowing positive in AEW buying Ring of Honor, it's that TNA was kind of able to nuzzle in that third spot again. Because it seems like AEW and Ring of Honor, I mean, they don't, but they do share a roster. So if you don't sign with WWE, you don't sign with AEW, TNA's there for you, and they have done just wonders with their roster. They've always had a great show. I mean, some of the top stars today on both programs, LA Knight, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, they've all been with TNA. And right now, they've got the American Bullet Club, they've got the Motor City Machine Guns, they've got Trinity, who used to be Naomi. I mentioned before on other podcasts, Bully Ray's there, having another career renaissance. If Eric Young went back, Eddie Edwards, Gail Kim still makes appearances. Heath Slater's doing amazing there. Rhino in his, 10th, 11th career renaissance. PCO, who recently re-signed at just a long-term veteran, still dominating. Santino, who when I saw he was going to be the on-screen authority, I kind of rolled my eyes. What I've seen, I have loved. and it's just been really good. Their Bound for Glory show was amazing. They're Hall of Famers. They inducted Don West and Mike Tenay, who are the original color commentators, and then Tracy Brooks, who was the original diva. TNA is doing everything right now. And I know as wrestling fans, you've heard that before. You heard it in 2002, you heard it in 2004, you heard it in 2005, heard it about 2008, you heard it 2012. I think that now that they have Scott D'Amore running things, I don't think we're going to see the dip that we normally see.
No.
I mean, there's even a rumor Punk could show up there.
He was backstage.
I mean, yeah, and that would have been and that's the thing. A few years ago, that we would have completely scoffed, rolled our eyes. I mean, I don't think that will be his landing place, but I'm not casting it to the side.
The problem is, I just don't think they can't afford him.
Not only that, but I've seen a lot of veterans and a lot of like websites talk about how since they don't have the quality workers that WWE and AEW has, like your Kenny Omegas, your Bryan Danielsons, he won't be able to mask how he's rusted in the ring, which made me chuckle. I'm excited to see where TNA happen. When they become TNA, I'm sure the show is going to be good. They just had a TNA/Impact. They had a series of 1,000 shows, and that's where the Dudleys returned. They had a lot of former talent appear. AMW has made a couple comebacks. I mean, TNA has a lot of near and dear figures and matches to my heart. The one that sticks out, it had a whole show where it was one match. Rhino, Kurt Angle, and I believe Christian Cage, and it was just one match, 90 minutes. It was fun. That's one thing that I can give TNA. It's always fun. I always enjoy it, even when people are poo-pooing on it. Hope nothing but the best for them. I'm not going to be one of those that thinks they're going to overtake WWE or AEW. But, you know, you always do need.
So they're not going to Monday nights anymore? They're going to try another Monday night?
No.
Okay.
No. And I also hope they do not sign Hogan. I don't know if you saw. Apparently he was given 5% of all profit for TNA when he was there.
They would honestly have to do something like that to get Punk there, probably. Some sort of profit share and creative control, which...
Luckily, Dixie Carter's in there.
That's something that works out every time it happens, right?
Yeah. But luckily, Dixie Carter isn't there, so that shouldn't happen. But, yep, TNA, looking for nothing but good for you, and kind of excited to see more of these press passes, these media calls. Make sure you watch them, because I think the next one we're on, there's a chance you might see our face.
Yeah, we won't be at work, I think, the next one. At least one of us won't be.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next one, we kind of already touched on it. We don't have to be into it too hardcore. And just give me like a yes or no, I guess. Does Punk show up at Survivor Series? Because that's the big rumor right now. He's been asked about it, and he's so coy. He's like, "Oh, I heard tickets are hard to get. Ha ha ha. I don't know if I can be there." And then it went from, he's signed, or like rumored that there's interest in a deal happening, and then like the next day it's like, nope, no deal. It's a no-go. Nobody wants him. Everybody hates him.
Yeah.
It seems
that's the interesting part is that all the no's aren't coming from Punk's camp. It's coming from WWE's camp.
Yeah.
That they'll be like, no, we don't want him. He's toxic. And I don't think he'll be there. I did read, and I wish I would have remembered who, but they talked about a War Games match where it was like John Cena versus the Bloodline, right?
Yeah.
And it was going to be like Cena, LA Knight, and other people, but then the Bloodline took out everyone but Cena, and then it's ha ha ha, you don't have anyone. That's when Cena's like, ooh, I called in some friends. And it was like Cena, Orton, Punk, and Lesnar, which on paper is great. But as good as the bloodline is, those four should just mop the floor with whoever.
Roman and Solo will solo them.
Those. Oh my god, those four. And I just love how for Punk, Orton, and Lesnar, like, nobody can come up with anything creative online except Cena being like, I called a friend. Like, why not explain that Punk has history with Roman and Heyman? Why not explain that Brock has history with Roman and Heyman? Why not explain that Orton's last big feud before he went out was with the Bloodline? That'd be too easy. I'm excited for Survivor Series. I'm excited for this Crown Jewel that's coming up. I think we're in a window of WWE that a year or two ago would have seemed crazy, but everything they're doing right now is hot.
Yeah.
Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Who'd have thought? I was pissed when I saw that Nick Aldis was going to be the SmackDown GM, because I think he's really good at ring worker. It's perfect, though. Like, it seems like whatever they're throwing at the wall is sticking. And it almost seems like it's because Vince has almost no say.
Well,
Vince is almost...
He kind of worked himself into a shoot. And,
Yeah, so... I've talked about it before, where my impression of Dana White was always he was the face. He actually didn't do anything. That's almost what Vince is doing. He's the face of it, and he has to make appearances, but he has no creative because of how shitty the Raw after Mania was.
Right.
And the Endeavor, I forget, is it Ariel?
Ariel Mani?
Owner of it.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. That's not his last name, but I know what you're talking about, though.
He pretty much blamed Vince for stocks dropping, for this, for that. So, yeah, Vince, he made it where this company bought him, and he essentially did it so that he could still be on the board, still have creative. For everything I've seen, Vince has no creative control anymore of anything. The people that he once wanted to keep in catering are now on shows. Characters people like Nikki Cross are going back to their old characters. And if that's the case, I want everyone who blamed anything bad on Triple H for the last couple of years to just shut the fuck up.
Tell me how you really feel.
Triple H and Shawn Michaels, they might not be perfect. They do a pretty good damn job.
They're doing fine.
I understand there's WWE haters out there, just like I understand there's AEW haters out there. I think Triple H is slowly re-getting his cabinet together. I mean, he already pulled Regal from AEW. He's had Michael Hayes there still. I saw Arn Anderson just left AEW. I'm sure he reappears. H is getting his little crew back together. And if I'm any competitor, I don't want to say the wrong thing, because look at all the stops they pulled out for that NXT show. Plus you have WrestleMania 40 coming up. Look at what they did for 30. Imagine what they're going to do for 40. I
know. I think 40 is going to be pretty big. Especially if somebody finishes the story.
Yeah, finishes the story, or, I mean, there's so much they could do. Let's not get into that, though. That's a lot of speculation. That could be hours. But, yeah, Vince, pretty much no power. And this old man...
And he did the whole sale to get power.
Yeah.
So.
And he lost it all. Oh, it's hilarious. It is hilarious. I mean... I just don't understand how he can mess up that bad. But Vince always finds a way.
He always does, so now his legacy is tainted.
Now his legacy is in a backup running back at Indiana University. Oh, Declan.
Hey, future podcast guest. I'm gonna get him on here. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm just gonna say like, hey, I guess we're gonna interview today. Don't worry about it.
Him and Nicholas, and I'll be in hog heaven.
Nah, Nicholas got like school and stuff to worry about. He can't be on no podcast.
But yeah, I mean, even though we were gone for a little bit, not a lot of newsworthy things. I think once this week's done and Crown Jewels happened, there'll be some matches to talk about, maybe some storylines to discuss. But things have been pretty quiet on the wrestling front.
Yeah, for now, it's kind of a low period anyway. Wow.
Yeah.
But it's gonna pick up here really soon, especially after Survivor
yeah.
Series, end of the year, heading into Royal Rumble.
It's December, January is usually when New Japan puts on some of their best shows. AEW is going to want to compete with WWE. Impact is becoming TNA again. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. And if it's a great time to be a wrestling fan, then it's a great time to be a Pro Wrestling Proverbs fan.
It's also a good time to get hiccups. Yeah.
But if you don't want hiccups, remember that link tree Anthony mentioned earlier? Go to that. That's, again, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, YouTube, TikTok. There's even links to some of our work, like the profiles. I mean, whatever you need, it's there. We're going to be a little more active, as you said, than before. You know, post some memes, post some written articles, get some more content out there. We're just looking to appease the masses. As I said, we had over 100 YouTube subscribers. A lot of them came within the past month or two, so we're just hoping to continually, slowly climb up, and one day we'll get that play button. But until then, keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing, keep listening.
Please get Logan that play button. It's the only thing he needs in his life. He'll be a happy man.
But I guess until then, this has been this is Logan. That's Anthony the Hiccuper.
I'm trying so hard to hold my breath right now. Oh my god.
But we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.